Good morning, kids. Wow, so nice. Let's figure out here where to get. How many of you kids have friends? Anybody here have a friend? Oh, everybody has friends. Anybody here have a friend that's only your friend, but it's not anybody else's friend? Some people? Does anybody know anybody who's not friendly? Have you ever ran into somebody that's not friendly? Well, you know what? There is something you can do when you come across somebody who's not friendly. Now, I'm going to tell you about Jill. Jill was not friendly. In fact, Jill was so unfriendly that I was a little bit scared of her. Is there anybody that you know that's not friendly that you're a little bit scared of? Well, Jill, interestingly enough, Jill was very large. She weighed about 1,800 pounds. And she had big, long ears, and she was a mule. Yeah, Jill was a mule, and she was in my string of mules. I had a long string of mules that I packed up in the Bob Marshall Wilderness and the Scapegoat Wilderness, and they would carry all kinds of heavy gear and equipment for me. And each mule had a different personality, and I got along with them all pretty well, but Jill was not friendly, and Jill was ornery. And when you came by Jill, she'd put her ears back. Sometimes she'd try to bite you, or she'd try to kick you, and if you tried to lead her, she wouldn't come. You pull on her, and she'd pull back, and you pull on her, and she'd say, "Come on, Jill, just don't be so ornery and hard to get along with." Well, one time, I was on a pack trip, and I had some trouble with some other mules, and I had to get off of my horse and go repack some things. And I noticed when I came back to my horse that Jill had worked her way up to my horse, and she had one of my saddlebags in her mouth. The whole thing. Jill was big. She had a head like a wheelbarrow. Have you ever seen a wheelbarrow? Jill's head was that big. It was a big head, and she had a big mouth. And she had one of my saddlebags in her mouth, and she's chewing on it. And I could hear my stuff crunching, making noise, breaking. I thought, oh, no, that's the bag that has my lunch in it. And when I pulled that bag out of her mouth, and I reached in my saddlebag, she had broken 2 cold packs. In case somebody got hurt, I had cold packs. She'd broken them, and they were oozing all around inside there. And she'd popped one of my plastic water bottles, and she had mashed my peanut butter and jelly sandwich, completely mushed. And when I pulled it out of the bag, Jill's big nose was right here. And I'm like, "Jill, get away. You've done enough damage." But she wanted that peanut butter and jelly sandwich so bad that I peeled it out of there all mushy, and boy, her big old mule lips were just, she got a hold of that sandwich, and her ears got real soft and floppy. She chewed that sandwich. Oh, she was so happy she loved it. And so the next morning when I was making my lunch and getting ready to hit the trail, I thought, I'm going to make Jill a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Maybe she'll stay out of my lunch. So I made Jill a peanut butter and jelly sandwich, and while I was riding along that day, we stopped for a little break, and I got out and I pulled that sandwich out of my saddlebag, and I took it back down the line. Jill was about the 4th mule in my string of about 12 that day, and I went back there and I sneaked that out, and her big old lips are going, and her big long ears are making a windstorm. They're flapping fancy, and she's so excited, and I fed her that sandwich, true story. Her eyes went half shut. That's so nice when a girl does that and their eyes are half shut and they're all happy. It's hard to get it, but sometimes it happens. And her eyes are half shut and she's happy and her ears are all soft. Sometime if your mommy's ornery, you feel her ear. If it's all soft, it's going to be okay. But if it gets really laid back, you're in trouble. Well, I'll tell you what, after that, every single day for a long, long time, I always made Jill a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. And you know what? When I tried to lead Jill, do you think she pulled back and made it hard for me? Oh, no, she couldn't wait for me to lead her around. And when I'd go out in the pasture or I'd go out in a meadow in the wilderness and I'd say, "Come on, mule, come on, go." And they'd all be like, "Oh, no, we got to go to work. We're going to go the other way." Not Jill. Her ears would come up. She'd come a-trotting, sometimes she'd make that big old mule. No. She's so happy. And I'd give her a piece of bread with peanut butter and jelly on it. And she was my friend for the rest of our days together. Now, I haven't seen Jill in a few years, but Jill and I became fast friends. Why do you think we became friends? Yes, because I made friends with her and I did something that she needed. Do you know how important it is for us boys and girls to read someone else's love language, to think about what they might like and what they might need? And if we are nice to them, even though sometimes they're not very nice to us, we can win them over because the Bible says we wrestle not against flesh and mules, but against principalities. Satan doesn't want us to have friends. Satan wants us to have enemies. And so if we will try to make friends, Jesus will help us. And Jesus helped me to make a friend with Jill. Probably saved my life on some cold winter night along a trail in the dark. And Jill didn't kick me and send me off the edge of a cliff because we were friends. I don't know. In heaven, I'll know why it was important for God to help me and Jill become friends. It's important to God for you to be friends with all the people in your life. And so make friends, even if you have to make them a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. They're my favorite, so if you ever make me one, I'll be happy too, and we'll be friends. Try to make friends, don't make enemies, and Jesus will help us to do that.